Hey, everybody. Matt Barrows here with a Wednesday solo podcast for 49ers Plus Minus. Wednesday is injury report day, which means that this will be a lengthy solo cast, but I think you'll find it interesting because some of these injuries mean that rookies that we haven't seen so far, been a lot of rookies playing for this team, but there have been a few who we haven't seen hide nor hair of, could get into this upcoming game Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. Let's start though with Fred Warner and his injury and his return. He had his surgery on Tuesday. It was done locally here in the Bay Area. Everything went well. Shanahan said on Wednesday that it went great. He's floated the idea of a 3-month return to play for Fred Warner. He said that that's just a rough estimate. He kind of threw it out there. I talked to a couple of orthopedic surgeons on Wednesday morning, and they said that 4 months is more of the standard recovery. One of them says he tells his patients it's a 6-6-4 time frame. So 6 weeks of healing, 6 weeks for the ankle, and then the ligament to heal. 6 weeks of rehab. So that's 3 months right there. And then another 4 weeks of what he called restoration, which is basically training, getting your body back into the proper shape to play your sport. Now, having said that, the two guys that I spoke to both said that when it comes to professional athletes, sometimes that timeline can be sped up because they've got access to resources, anti-gravity treadmills, for example, which allows you to start that rehab, that training much sooner. And that 3 months is not out of the question. Both of them said the likeliest scenario is if the 49ers made the Super Bowl, which I know is a long shot without Fred Warner, without Nick Bosa and several other players. But can you imagine the storyline there that the 49ers are in the Super Bowl, which is at Levi Stadium, and Fred Warner is going to make his 2025 season return for that game? Yeah, I think you would need an entire army to keep Fred Warner from returning for that game, or maybe even the NFC Championship. Lots of different variables with that. One is that they have to put in hardware, screws, plate, in order to heal the fractured bone in the ankle. That screw sometimes has to come out. Remember, Trey Lance had a similar injury back in 2022, I believe it was, in week 2. He had to have a follow-up surgery to get a screw removed because the screw was irritating him, and that happens, fairly often. Dak Prescott had the same thing. He had to have a screw removed after the initial surgery as well. So that's Fred Warner. Likely that we're not going to see him again this year, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think this is a Lloyd Christmas style possibility. Some good news on their injury report. George Kittle was back at practice as expected today. He looked like he was high energy. George Kittle, very happy to be out there, high-fiving everybody, dapping it up with Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne's buddy is Ricky Pearsall, another high-energy guy. So without Pearsall out there, Bourne gravitates to George Kittle, and you can imagine those two together. So I think it's likely that George Kittle comes off of IR, so he would take Warner's spot. That hasn't happened yet. Warner's still on the active roster. He goes on IR, and then Kittle takes his spot, and then we'll see what Kittle's presence does for this very underwhelming rushing attack that the 49ers have had through 3 weeks. More good news. Brock Purdy was back at practice. He was practicing on a limited basis. He and Mac Jones both limited. Kyle Shanahan said that Purdy was more limited with his toe than Mac Jones is with his knee and his oblique injury. Mac Jones seemed to be getting the quote unquote starters snaps at the beginning of practice. So it's looking as if Mac Jones will start another game, the Falcons game. That's not in stone yet. We'll see what happens during the week, but that seems to be the way it's shaping up. Another guy back at practice today, Jordan Watkins, who looked really good in the spring and the summer. Remember, he had a big catch in that first preseason game, and then also suffered a high ankle sprain in that preseason game when somebody kind of crashed into him at the end of a play. Then he came back from that, and then immediately suffered a calf injury. Now he's back from that calf injury, but he could play right away because Sky Moore, last seen fielding not one but two punts inside the 5-yard line, is dealing with an ankle injury. He did not practice on Wednesday. He was off on a side field. Shanahan said there's a chance that Sky Moore is back for Sunday, but Watkins looked good. Watkins can return punts. In fact, if there's no Sky Moore, he's the only guy on the active roster right now, or who's healthy. Pearsall can do it as well, but Pearsall's not practicing. Who can return punts. So that could be a way for Jordan Watkins to see his first snaps of the season. And so you've got three rookies who are on the active roster, or I should say 3 rookie draft picks on the active roster. Drew Moss also on the active roster, who have not seen any snaps this year. And I would say that, Nick Martin, the 3rd round linebacker, might be the most likely to play, probably on special teams, Sunday against the Falcons, because the 49ers are now down a linebacker. So Tatum Bethune is going to take over for Fred Warner. Tatum Bethune plays, 15 to 20 special team snaps a week, usually. He's not going to play those anymore because he's going to be an every down linebacker. So somebody has to step up and take those special team snaps, and Nick Martin is first in line to do it. He's got to earn that. He's got to prove to the coaches this week that he can do it, but it seems like there's a good chance that he's going to be up. I just mentioned Watkins being up. Jordan James is probably 3rd on that list. There was some movement with Isaac Guerrero in kickoff returns. You'll notice on Sunday, he was no longer part of that kick return unit with Sky Moore. Brian Robinson had replaced him. I asked Shanahan about that on Wednesday. He said, it wasn't a dramatic thing. They wanted to see Brian Robinson do it, see if he could do it. Maybe it's to give Robinson more usage. This is a guy who's used to being a starter and who only gets, 4 or 5 snaps because he's behind Christian McCaffrey on the 49ers. But Shanahan's take was that, Grendo hasn't done anything really bad on kick returns. He hasn't done anything really good on kick returns either. Not very many. Certainly the 49ers haven't had many good returns. And Isaac Guerrero has had really no good returns. In fact, Brian Robinson, he had one for 31 yards in the loss on Sunday. And that's the 2nd longest kick return for the 49ers this year. I think that Sky Moore has something like a 38 or a 36-yarder. Okay, now we get to the bad injury news. Dom Puni, we all watched him struggle against Vita Vea on Sunday, and a lot of offensive guards and centers struggle against Vea. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Puni was dealing with more than Vita Vea. He's dealing with a knee injury. I think that some people who have been watching him this year realize that maybe that knee that knee injury that he suffered in the preseason hasn't fully gone away. I think that's probably the case. He did not practice on Wednesday with a knee injury. He hadn't been on the last time he was on the practice report was week 2. So he'd been off of it until Wednesday. Now he's back on it. So in a scenario where he doesn't play at right guard, the 49ers could have one rookie 7th rounder Connor Colby at left guard, and another rookie, undrafted Drew Moss at right guard. So Moss would be yet another rookie who could get into the game. He's been playing some special teams. He's one of the linemen on extra points and on field goals, but he has not played any offensive snaps yet. Other possibilities, should Puni not play, Nick Sikel could come up from the practice squad. Matt Hennessy is a possibility too. Hennessy's more of a center, though. So I would think that Drew Moss gets the nod in that scenario. That'll be something to monitor. Tim Kawakami and I will talk again on Thursday night to kind of update all of these and talk about possible scenarios. But on Wednesday, that seems like a something that could happen against the Falcons. No Ricky Pearsall. At one point, Shanahan had said that they hoped that he would make a quick recovery from that PCL injury. We all saw him try to get back into the Cardinals game when he suffered the injury. That didn't happen. And so he hasn't suffered a setback. I think this is a normal PCL recovery, but it's obviously not the quickie recovery that they were hoping for. So probably yet another week without Ricky Pearsall. Jawan Jennings, sort of good news, bad news with him. He practiced on Wednesday. That's the first Wednesday practice he's been part of in a long time, more than a month. Bad news is that they added shoulder to his list of injuries. So now it's not just ankle and ribs, it's ankle, ribs, and shoulder. So that kind of puts into perspective where he is right now. Certainly not 100%, does not look 100% in practice. The other thing that jumps out, just a lot of defensive linemen are listed on the injury report. No Yetur Gross-Matos, that's expected. He's probably going to miss another week with that hamstring strain. CJ West is limited with his thumb. Kalia Davis is limited with his broken hand. Kevin Givens limited. He's still coming back from the pectoral injury. I think they'll probably give him 2 or 3 weeks of just kind of getting back into practice. He's been out since early August. Before he's back in the game. And then Michael Williams is full go, but he's still dealing with a wrist injury. So there you have it. It's a beat up defensive line, a beat up linebacker unit now that's going to be taking on Bijan Robinson and the top ranked run offense in the league in the Falcons. This is the 49ers team that could really use a bye right now. And it just so happens that they have the latest bye possible. That won't come until early December. Okay, so that's it. How many minutes did we get off of this? We got a nice chunk of time talking about injuries. Tim Kawakami and I will be back with you during the week and give you our predictions for Falcons at 49ers in primetime. Thanks a lot.